Alright guys, it's Wintergore here. I'm currently at the EA headquarters in Redwood City. So I'm here with Ian, the creative director for Battlefield Hardline.
Hello!
Right, so we're going to be running through a few questions today to basically introduce you guys to the game. I know at the moment the only thing we've seen so far is the actual leaked footage, but the game has obviously progressed considerably since then. So first up really is, how did you guys come around with the idea for Battlefield Hardline?
Well, we were both making games. We were, both DICE and Visceral are under the EA umbrella. And about 3 years ago, we were at a meeting together where we were basically just talking about how much we loved each other's games. And I've been playing Battlefield since the first demo and been really into it. And they were like, we really love what you guys are doing with Dead Space. That's awesome. And we were looking to kind of change things up a little bit. We were working on 3 Dead Spaces by that point, and it's like, okay, well, what do you think about us trying out a little bit of Battlefield? And they seem to be into it, so we thought, awesome, let's do this. To our mind, I think we wanted to maybe try some new stuff with it and give a different flavor and our own spin on Battlefield, so that's where we came up with this whole cops and criminals aspect. It turns out that was an idea that was kicking around DICE for years and years, even before then. So we all got together and we started to work together on the concept and develop it for a while. And we helped out a little bit on Battlefield 3 and 4, and they're helping us out a little bit on this, but we're the leaders on it, and here we are about ready to show it to everybody.
Considering it is obviously developed under Visceral and not DICE, would you say that you've taken kind of a different approach to the way that obviously it's traditionally at heart it's a Battlefield game, but would you say that you've put your own, like a huge version of your own spin on the Battlefield game? Like obviously with maybe some of the mechanics are slightly different to maybe have your own kind of...
A little bit. I mean, I think the key idea here is that it's not like we were making some other bank heist game and decided to put Battlefield on the front because we could sell more. From the beginning, it was developed as a Battlefield game. So we've been very careful to make sure that's not something we take lightly, right? So we make sure that it really is Battlefield in its DNA. And so there's a lot of things that Battlefield fans will know and love will be the way that they know and love them. But we also wanted a game where people said, oh, cool, like that I see why that exists. That's a new, different thing, and I appreciate it coming out. It doesn't feel like, really, another one already? So we, yes, have put a bunch of stuff from a couple different camps. Number one, we wanted to put a bunch of stuff in the game and tweak stuff that just felt like they were cool additions to the Battlefield franchise, no matter what the theme, right? Grappling hooks and zip lines and tweaks to how some of the assistance stuff works in terms of being able to just pick up health off of guys rather than necessarily wait for a drop and that kind of thing. But then we also wanted to develop things that really paid off on the cops and criminals fiction. Things like tasers and baseball bats and sawed-off shotguns and things that brought the weapon menagerie to a new place. So we're kind of doing both.
For you, what would you have to say during obviously the design process of the entire game? What was kind of your favorite thing that you've had to do so far, what do you think?
Well, what I've really loved is taking that Battlefield formula and tweaking it to fit a more urban environment and developing a lot of new game modes with it. We have some classics returning, but we also have a lot of new ones that allow us to take the Battlefield formula, which is so rich and diverse and deep, and go as big as Battlefield ever does, 64 players, giant urban maps, all this kind of stuff, but also do some more focused things that let us bring the Battlefield formula into focus for different groups, like a more hardcore group or a more whatever, to really provide some different value and stuff in there.
Yeah, it really seems like you kind of, well, compared to Battlefield 4, which traditionally is quite a slow-paced game, in aspects there are game modes, of course, which are more close quarters focused. It seems like you've kind of upped the pace, and it's just everything is just high adrenaline, high action, with obviously like the new feature where you can lean out the side of a car.
Yeah, well, you can sit on the windowsill and shoot 360, right? You sort of become the turret in one of those cases, rather than, there are things that are different there. The vehicles are definitely faster. It's less about, I'm in my big, slow, powerful vehicle, and more, and I'm in this fast vehicle. And if you have friends that can all sort of augment the firepower of that vehicle, it can become quite powerful indeed.
Yeah, it seems like you've kind of gone for more of like the infantry is key, even though there are a lot of different vehicles. I noticed even, for instance, the helicopters can be shot down from light arms fire. You can fire light machine guns at them to shoot them down, which is quite a new thing for Battlefield. We did see it in some of the older games. Reintroducing that kind of...
I think by the nature in general of the fiction, the gameplay modes, what I want to do here and what I think what our team has talked about is integrating it a little more. I think it's less of a dogfighty game than maybe other Battlefields have been. It's less about air-to-air, which isn't as much a part of the fiction and the vibe that we're presenting. So it's a little bit more harkening back to maybe the earlier days of Battlefield when the air war and the ground war interacted more. That's sort of what we're bringing it back to. So
when creating the actual game, with it being themed around cops and robbers, did you have to look at basically like every cops and robbers movie out to?
We looked at a lot of different stuff, both from real life and entertainment, just trying to figure out what is the flavor that we want to deliver. I think when some people hear Battlefield Cops and Criminals, they think maybe something quite slow and tactical and door breachy and procedural. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's been games that have been more based on that before that I've enjoyed, but I wanted to maintain and we wanted to maintain the flexibility, I think, and the teamwork of Battlefield. So we wanted something that felt a little more clever, a little more organic, a little more, don't get me wrong, we've got very heavily armed cops and criminals, and you can be a SWAT guy if you want, but it's also a little more organic and less regimented than a pure SWAT experience. So we looked at all kinds of different entertainment, from something as strict as because we trained with real SWAT guys and have real consultants on this game, but also, Point Break was cool, right? So, how'd the bank heist and Point Break work? Like everything in between.
Yeah, I noticed myself from the trailer, there's like quite a few missions that you can kind of tell, like for example, the heist mission, even though it's purely designed after a bank, kind of, the way like it's all designed, as in like the theme of the level, kind of reminds you kind of like, Batman, like the movies, when all the robbers go into the bank heist, and then you have kind of the desert maps, which I could say have, to me, instantly scream kind of like the Breaking Bad meth lab kind of setup.
Yes.
It all looks really cool, like how you took all of this inspiration, not just the really serious side of it like you would usually have in Battlefield. It does have this light-hearted side.
Sure.
Put all that kind of stuff in.
Right, no, I think actually it fits with Battlefield really nicely.
Yeah, so, well that's pretty much it for this short interview.
Okay.
Thanks for joining me in, and...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what everybody says.
Look forward to some gameplay, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.